Let's talk about how to choose a personal statement topic. I think the biggest problem with personal statements that I see is people write about things they don't really care about. It's hard to make yourself sound sincere if you're not. Good personal statement topics matter to you, but they're also something that you feel like you can turn into an interesting story. Let's talk about the flowchart. So, first question you've got to ask yourself, do I have an incredible life story? And I mean incredible. You're going to be applying with people who fled war-torn countries, who overcame cancer, who helped support their families through high school, etc., etc. So if the answer is yes, great, you should probably use that. If the answer is no, and most of the people I work with answer no, then you've got to brainstorm, generate a list of topics, and then cull, which means sort out the good from the bad. If you're left with a list of topics that you're still not excited about, brainstorm again. But what kind of prompts should you use to generate ideas in your brainstorm? Number one, what's most important to you? If something is important to you, you can make it important to the admissions committee. Now, a few of you out there probably really care about social justice, and poof, I give you permission to write about that. But a good chunk of you probably don't, not deeply. And in that case, you should find something closer to your heart. I've read great personal statements about dance, joining a Jewish campus organization, reading, working as a park ranger, just to name a few. Number two, when did you change your mind, your beliefs, or your goals? A story is a record of change. Something happens, and the rest of your life is a little bit different. Look for the inflection points in your life, the moments when your trajectory changed. It might be when you gave up on the idea of being a professional chef, or first grew interested in political theory, or first became skeptical of your parents' values. Inflection point essays are almost always personal and very well structured, since they revolve around a key moment and they demonstrate your self-awareness. Number three, what's the most challenging thing you've ever done? You don't have to write about overcoming a challenge, but it's a good idea because it shows you to advantage. People reveal their character when they do something hard. It's also a natural way to structure your story. Part one is the challenge, part two is the solution. Number four, what's most surprising about you? In order to answer this question, you have to step outside of your own perspective. So let me give you an example. I worked with a student who wrote an essay about going to a conference. He heard a lawyer speak, and he decided that he wanted to be a lawyer. It wasn't a terrible essay, but it had no spark. So I spoke to him on the phone, and I asked him about his life, and in the course of our conversation, he told me that he had Tourette's syndrome. For him, that manifested itself as a bunch of facial tics and throat clearing. He learned to control it with exercise and diet, and as soon as he said that, I knew that this was our essay. It was interesting, it was personal, it was about overcoming a challenge, and it was unique. I just doubt the admissions committee has read very many essays about Tourette's. So maybe this topic sounds like an obvious winner to you, but it wasn't obvious to him because he lived with the condition. It's very possible that you also have a topic that's an obvious winner, but which you've never even considered. Number five, what 5 seconds changed your life? If you can pinpoint 5 seconds that changed your life, your essay comes with a built-in climax. This prompt is actually compatible with the others. You might write about the 5 seconds in which you overcame a challenge or the 5 seconds that made you change your mind about something. Number 6, what made you want to be a lawyer? Some law schools ask why you want to be a lawyer. If the law school doesn't ask about it, you really don't have to mention it, and you probably shouldn't unless you have a really, really compelling reason for pursuing your JD. But some people do. Note that this topic is also compatible with the others. For example, maybe you write your personal statement about immigrating to America and how overcoming the challenge of the move inspired you to study immigration law. Even if you decide to write about your motivation to pursue your JD, you still need to tell a personal story. A few tips for you as you choose a personal statement topic. First of all, size doesn't matter. You don't necessarily have to write about a major life-altering moment. It's fine to write about a small but meaningful interaction. All you have to do is zoom in. For example, I worked with a client on a great essay about the day she said to a barista, "Hey, excuse me, why do you have to be so rude?" It wasn't a cataclysm, but she usually didn't stand up for herself, so that day stood out in her memory. 2. Think events, not themes. Your theme is like your mortar, but moments and details and dialogue and specific reactions are the bricks of your essay. Don't worry about the theme yet. Let it arise later from the events. Finally, think in terms of the time that X happened, the time I got locked out, the time I wrote my senator, etc. This trains you to focus on events. When you're evaluating a topic, ask yourself a few questions. Do you play an active role in the story? You don't want to write an essay about something that someone else did. Can you illustrate your point with specific anecdotes or details? If not, it's going to be vague and forgettable. Is the topic important to you? Can you write about it sincerely? Sincerity leaps off the page. You should mean what you say.